I've never been more excited for fall. I don't think ever. Like I used to be the typical northern Michigan dude that likes winter and wanted to go like snowmobiling and wanted to do all that. As I like to say, I'm half redneck. I like to do all that. And then honestly, honestly, I've never even told this story before. How the have I never told this story before on the air or anything? Where that I am legitimately allergic to the cold, or at least I used to be. It doesn't happen as much anymore, maybe because I avoid being out in the cold for very long. But like legit, especially if it's like a damp cold, a humid cold, not a dry heat or a dry cold. But like I will legit, my belly, my arms, my legs break out in hives, like big blotchy hives too. It's not like they're not little. And like I've tried to tell this to people, and they're like, "You're stupid." Went to the doctor. They're like, "You're crazy." So there was that, but then I also went in the Army, and I lived in Louisiana for like 13 months, and got totally spoiled by the hot weather, and I loved it. And ever since then, I'd hated. I loved hot weather. 90 plus, I'm good. I like to be sitting there sweating out on the deck drinking margaritas. It's fun. Makes me feel happy. Being all hot and sweaty is kind of stupid to say out loud, but it's gotten different, especially with being older. I'm seeking out more milder climates and more mild lifestyles, I guess is the old man things, and that means changing climate. Maybe. But yeah, I never have been into the cold at all. And I'm not saying that I am now, but I am embracing the fall a lot better. Maybe that's because you're working downtown now in Traverse City. And it sounds pretty ridiculous that there's such a drastic like shift in mood when you're downtown, but when you're in the midst of all the people, it's harder to deal with, when you're driving through mountains of people. It's like driving through Disney World sometimes. You're like, look, somebody might walk across the street. It's also kind of like driving in Korea when I lived in Korea for a year, very narrow streets, driving big trucks, and there didn't really seem to be a whole lot of road discipline practiced by the people of South Korea, because just fucking people just walk right out in front of your truck. You hear stories about like soldiers accidentally hitting civilians, and they go to prison forever. Hard South Korean prisons from the stories we heard. I don't know how much harder the Korean prisons are than the prisons in the United States, but either way, man, like, why don't you practice road discipline? Kids just walking right out in the middle of the road, and they're so narrow. Those roads are so narrow too that like we're driving military trucks, deuce and a half and 5 tons, and you're already wary of civilians walking out in front of you. But then you have another obstacle, which is the South Korean army trucks, the ROK trucks, Republic of Korea, going the opposite way. And the roads are so narrow that your mirrors that are out on each driver's side smack. And like, oh man, is that something we should stop for and like do a report? No, keep going. Keep going. Don't ever stop. Man, I forgot all about that. So it happens with what the hell, everything. It just goes left to right, up, down. We're talking about cold weather allergies, and all of a sudden driving in Korea stories. It just happens. I don't plan any of this. I just say go. What the hell, everything. Gonna bring woolly mammoths back, man. I love that idea though, because yeah, how awesome would that be? Gigantic woolly elephants going through, just bombarding through Traverse City. People don't know what to do with that fucking black bear that is in town. Woolly mammoths. Hey, speaking of woolly mammoths, Fat Chicks Barbecue. I had to take that joke. I'm sorry. It was right there. Fat Chicks Barbecue. Look, I don't want to in any way insinuate anything from the woolly mammoths comment, but other than hopefully comedy. But man, Fat Chicks Barbecue in Atlanta, Michigan, who are quickly becoming just some of my favorite people and some of my favorite food. I have not gone back yet, but I do plan a return trip to Fat Chicks Barbecue very, very soon. But some of the best food I've ever had as far as just like barbecue. Best barbecue pizza, the pork belly bites. What else did I have? What else did I have? The mac and cheese. Oh man, yeah, the mac and cheese was so creamy and bacony and brisket goodness and pulled pork goodness on it. Man, tell you what, you can't miss them. They're downtown Atlanta. There's no stoplights. There is a yellow light, blinking yellow light. And it's basically, you get to that yellow, I don't even know if that's it. It's on West Street in Atlanta, Michigan. You can't miss it. You go just right to that, I think it's the yellow light. And then you just look left and it's right there. Fat Chicks Barbecue, top-notch food. And what they do a really good job of updating their Facebook page and making sure that they're letting people know if there are menu changes, because, you know, being in Atlanta and being especially a small restaurant, man, the supply chains, the supply lines are just jacked right now. They're just screwed. Everything, everywhere. Don't have this, don't have that, don't have this, don't have that. They're doing a really good job of letting people know on their Facebook page. So it's one of those things. And with any business that you like and you want to know what's going on, just you got to get notified. So subscribe to that page and you get notified of news whenever they post. And except Facebook again F's you as far as like the We Three Smiths thing that I posted the other day. It notified me today. Oh, hey, this page you like 3 days ago. So you got to battle through Facebook. But either way, follow them, get notified. They're constantly updating their menu as needed, and then being very creative with some of the menu changes based on what they have or they don't have, you know. So they do a really good job at like being creative and adapting it to those challenges. They're going to go far. Check them out in Atlanta. It is worth the drive. You're coming from Detroit, you're coming from out of state, you're coming from wherever. Make the drive to Fat Chicks Barbecue in downtown Atlanta, the bustling metropolis of Atlanta, Michigan. What the hell? Everything!